I'm pretty sure that all of us are guilty of scrolling Instagram and then asking ourselves the question, am I behind in life? If you've ever
Mm.
asked yourself this question, then this episode is for you.
Yeah, because suddenly it feels like everyone has the perfect routine, the perfect body, the perfect mindset, the go getter, the perfect
Mm-hmm.
morning. Everything just seems so perfectly curated.
Yeah. And meanwhile, you are just trying to go through your day without dropping the ball in any aspect possible.
But here's the truth, it's not that you are falling back or falling behind. It's more about the version of perfect that we've been sold is finally starting to crack.
And I love to see it, to be honest. So today we are
Mm.
going to be talking about that shift that has been happening away from the curated perfection and towards something more real, more relatable, and a lot more sustainable.
And for a long time, content online followed one theme aspiration. The perfect life, the perfect habits, the perfect progress. Everything's always going up, up, up. There's no
Mm.
downward. It's just onwards and upwards, you know?
Yeah, for sure. And it wasn't always just about fitness, it was about productivity, relationships, your self care routine, the way you heal, motherhood, running your businesses, basically every single thing.
Yeah, and the message was subtle but constant enough to make you question if you're not doing it like this, if you're doing it wrong, if you're not showing up like this. Where do you fit in? Leaving you with so many questions.
And what we're seeing now is a shift away from that idea, which actually brings me so much joy because it's moving towards a more intentional and more realistic living.
I was saying to Andy, because I do the social media stuff for his Instagram, and
Mm,
sometimes I ask him to write captions for the videos that I already made. I'm like, can you please write the caption for me? Because sometimes I'm just not in my German brain, and to type
mm,
in German, I have to be in my German brain.
yeah,
And then he wrote me this long text, and I sent it back there. I was like, no, something real, like not
yeah,
something that we're not trying to sell to people because the video is not a salesy video either.
mm,
So
yeah,
a real text, like you are talking to the person that's reading this.
mm,
And
mm.
I'm just as happy as you about this because I am awkward. So being being this perfect person or whatever was always hard, and I can say that I was always the type of person to try and fit into this perfect thing because you
Mm,
have this thing like you weird, other people are not weird, you need to get to
mm,
where the other people are. So I agree with you that shift matters, especially for
mm,
us as women, because our lives aren't one dimensional at all. We are
mm.
navigating seasons. One of the ladies in the office was talking to me about how the menopause is killing her at the
Oh,
moment.
shame.
We are going through hormone changes. We have 7 days where we feel normal. We have
Mm,
other responsibilities like motherhood, like you just mentioned. And on top of all of that, the emotional load. It's a
mm.
lot.
It is a lot. It is a lot. And that is why today we are unpacking why perfection is losing its relevance and why real content is resonating, and also how Instagram distorts expectations and how to
Hmm.
consume content without letting it dictate your worth. Because over time, that is essentially what it did. And even just listening to Zoe say that, like, there are people who naturally have this about them. They can show up a certain way, they can speak with confidence, they can commit to a the perfect morning routine. They can do that because that's what they can do. But from the outside, it makes you feel like you have to do that, which is not realistic because you're not the
Yeah.
same person, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's be honest about all of that actually. Perfection was never a real thing, it was always curated.
We do that here. We have to plan our
Mm.
episodes before we can bring it to you because we need to know what we want to talk about and which direction we want our message to go. But
Yeah.
when it becomes the standard, it creates unnecessary pressure.
And the problem was never inspiration. The problem was pretending that inspiration was normal life.
Yes.
Huge problem.
Yes. And from a psychological perspective, constant exposure to idealized lives increases comparison, dissatisfaction with your own life, and burnout, especially in women.
Yeah. And this is just basically causing everybody to be tired because it's exhausting trying to pretend that you have everything together. It's exhausting to constantly put up this performance or to feel like you are falling short. It's exhausting.
Yeah. And that's why content showing messy routine, missed days, honest conversations, real emotions are what's driving the platforms at the moment and is finally landing with people as well. I think people are just over it.
Yeah. And it's also things that they can relate to. And as somebody who's always trying to show up honestly online, I've always made a big effort to do that. It's really refreshing to see the shift because pretending that everything is perfect is exhausting. Now, don't get me wrong. They are like, I plan my content days ahead of time, like what I'm going to do and whatever. There are certain shots that I need, for example, getting out of bed, brushing my teeth or whatever. But in terms of trying to keep it relatable, if I went to bed with my bonnet on, I'm not taking my bonnet off for the camera. I'm waking up with my bonnet on because that's how I woke up. So even if I got out of bed to set up my camera, got back into bed and pretend that I woke, my bonnet is staying on my head. So like just trying to keep it relatable and real with little things like that has always been a great effort for me to do. So it is really nice to see that the shift is happening in content today.
Yeah, and nobody's life looks good at every angle. No one. You know that you have things going on and sometimes your life is chaos. So why do you think that the person you're seeing online just has a perfectly curated life all the time? One trap, or I would say this is one of the biggest traps, and it's assuming what you see online is someone's whole life. Like, people always think that I'm just training all the time, or I'm just going to do my nails. Be working, guys. Don't I be working.
And it's also crazy, like you see something on online and you assume that, like you said, that's exactly how it is. Like I was, my mom said to me that somebody commented on a video of mine and asked, don't I pray now anymore before I eat my food? And I'm like, I do pray before I eat my food. I used to include it into my videos and now I don't anymore. But that doesn't mean that I'm not doing it. And now you're also like, what does it have to do with you? But at the same time, it's like this for like a small example, you know, people see that you don't do this one thing and then they assume that is it. But you are seeing what I want you to see. I also saw a video of a girl where she was doing content in her room or whatever, and it was like clean, everything was perfect. And then she said, your POV and my POV, and she flipped the camera and her room on the other side was like everything
my office
was
right now.
everywhere.
I could show you guys if I could flip the camera. The mirrors that I had on my wall has broken and fallen off. And then also on my massage bed, that's supposed to be for my clients' massages, I've created a storage. So...
And that's the thing. It's like you obviously, like you get to a point where you don't necessarily want to show people the mess. You don't want to be messy online. That's also not what it is because we're not trying to promote a messy lifestyle, you know? And I think that just getting out of the fact that It is a highlight reel. People see what you want them to see. It's carefully chosen moments, often filmed on the best days of the week. People film their
Yeah.
busiest days when they do a day in the life. Because what's the point of posting a day in the life if I'm doing nothing? You're gonna watch me sit
Yeah.
on the couch and do nothing. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just like
Yeah.
kind of also in terms of content.
Yeah. And another trap is thinking that if I can't do life like that, then I'm not doing enough. If I can't get on this plane to go to this country, then my life sucks. Or if I can't afford to buy this thing that I saw this girl have, then
I'm not
catastrophic
good enough.
issues are going to occur.
Yeah.
But that belief completely erodes confidence in yourself, in your mental, it's so toxic for us.
Yeah, it is. And after you've consumed so much of this and you've basically wired your brain to think like this, we need to now ask ourselves, how do we navigate this shift without swinging from perfection to chaos? And we need to make
Yeah.
this practical.
Yeah. First things first, Instagram is not real. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but it's edited, it's filtered, it's framed, and it's timed, right? Zuckerberg created Instagram with an aesthetic mindset in mind. That's why those rough videos from TikTok don't perform well on Instagram, really, because people want to see beautiful things only. They want to see the most aesthetic body, the most expensive house with the big windows, and that's Instagram. TikTok is a place where you get to be a bit more unfiltered, a bit more rough, and all of that, and you can get away with it. So Instagram is not real, and it doesn't make it fake. It makes it incomplete because you can't see the whole picture.
Yeah, 100%. And you never measure your entire life versus somebody's best 30 seconds. Like, even just saying that out loud, it is ridiculous to think, like I'm watching this 1 minute, 30-second reel and it's perfect. And now my whole entire life needs to look like this 1 minute, 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Unrealistic.
Forgetting about all of your accomplishments and all of the things that you've done, all of that, like,
yes, gone.
But intentional doesn't also mean doing everything. It means choosing what matters in this season. So we always talk about this season, your now, where you are, meeting yourself where you are right now. Because don't compare yourself to other people. It's just going to kill your whole vibe.
Yeah, and you need to be realistic with yourself and recognize that some seasons are for growth, some seasons are for maintenance, some seasons are all about survival, and all of them are valid. And the reality is that all of us are not in the same season in our lives at the same time.
Yeah.
And also remembering that consistency is not flashy. It is very powerful. And sometimes the most powerful things are silent. So this looks like you showing up imperfectly. It's repeating simple, small habits. It's adjusting your life instead of quitting or even questioning.
Yeah. The repeating small habits is the key, right? I spoke to someone and they were telling me like, oh my word, I just want to do more. I just want to do like bigger. I just want to go harder. And because they've been on and off with their fitness journey. And I was like, you don't have to do more. You don't have to go bigger. You just have to do the things that you're already doing more often, more consistently. And then I was speaking to myself in that moment as well, because I was redesigning my eating plan and stuff. And then I was thinking back to how I used to eat before when I was happy with my training and with my recovery and my goals and stuff. And I was like, I was eating the same stuff almost every day. I like, I had no stress when I came home from my clients because I knew I was going to have my pancakes with some chicken and some avo. You know, it was like, that's my food. And I also have ADHD, actually diagnosed now. So I know that my body also loves eating. My brain loves me when I'm eating like this. So why are we trying to find or reinvent the wheel when you just have to follow showing up, or you just have to continue to show up imperfectly all the time? That's where real change happens, in repetition, not performance. And your feed shapes your expectations. My mom always says, the eyes are the window to your soul. Now, I know that's an old saying. Like, if you've ever been around old people, you've heard them say that. But my mom is someone that would remind me that what I look at is what's going to happen in my brain, and it's also what's going to affect my heart, because your eyes are the window to your soul. So if the content that you are consuming makes you feel behind, rushed, inadequate, then it's not motivating you, then it's draining you. And simple unfollow is the best thing that you can do.
Yeah, I agree. Like, follow people who actually reflect real life, not the ideal cult. And this is something that everybody I feel needs to do. You have a choice, because people say you are what you eat. You also are what you consume, what you watch, what you
Yeah.
listen to, what you read, who you surround yourself with is ultimately who you become. So if you constantly trapped in this wall of comparison, doom scrolling on Instagram, looking at people's lives, you are constantly going to ask yourself these same questions. Am I being left behind? Am I doing enough? Should I do more? Should I be better? Constantly. So you need to change the root of the problem, which is your
Yeah.
Instagram feed.
Yeah, for sure. And here's a simple framework to ground you in the shift, and we call it the intent framework. So, first things first is awareness. What am I consuming daily? What am I putting into my mouth? What am I putting into my eyes? What am I putting into my ears? Right? All of these things form your reality. And then number two is reality. And what does my life actually look like right now? Where are you right now, right? And then number three is choice. And this basically means what habit supports the season. So if you are feeling sad or depressed or whatever, what are you doing to either help you feel a bit better or help you navigate through this difficult time? And then the fourth one of the intent framework is your consistency. What can I repeat without burnout, without going crazy, without feeling like I'm doing too much and causing more stress, right? And then the last one and the final, and I think is the most important one, and that is adjustment. After you've gone through all the other four steps, you have to end up at number five. If you don't end up at number five, you're just going to continue going in a rat race and continue to feel burnt out. But what needs refining and not abandoning, right? That's adjustment. That's making slight tweaks and then going again, figuring out your process, making slight tweaks, figuring out your process, but you need to let the process run.
Yeah, fully. And also, you need to be extremely honest with yourself when you are going through this framework. Don't think about the perfect, what I want to achieve. Think about it right now. How does this apply right now? Because if you're not being honest, then the change is never going to come. And this also removes the pressure and it gives autonomy back to you. You stop chasing this perfect image and you start living with intention, which is what we ideally want for all of us, is to live with intention and to not have this perfect life in the back of your mind, but think about what your life is right now. And here's the takeaway from this episode is that industry is shifting, and this is not just in fitness, it's also in how we live and how we show up and how we actually define success.
I'm so happy that perfection is losing its grip, because intentional, realistic living is taking its place. And it's what we all want to see, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And as always, we are going to leave you with some homework. Take note of how your content makes you feel, whatever you are consuming, whether that's on Instagram, on X, on TikTok, on Threads, on Facebook, whatever it is, even on the TV as well. Take note about how these things make you feel. And then you decide what supports you, what supports your growth, and not the things that put more pressure on you.
In our next episode, we're going to be talking about how to create structure without turning your life into a rigid routine so that you too can find consistency.
100%. And if this resonated, please do go ahead and like this episode and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. And also leave us a note in the comments to let us know what exactly you are trying to unlearn right now.
And don't forget, train with intention and live with strength. We will catch you next time. Bye.
Bye.